Hey all friends, welcome to the channel. Bob here with a new video-y type thing, whatever you want to call it. Content providing. That's what I'm doing. Today's video is not really going to be there's not going to be a huge amount of gameplay, I don't think. This is just kind of look like a waffly video, because I've just found this is going to kind of like be a video about I guess psychology, MMO psychology, the psychology of an MMO player, in this case obviously Everquest. Because it's funny, when you play like off-peak and playing on blue, as I was before, you know, you kind of get yourself in a situation where you can feel like you're playing a single player game at times, because this, you know, you got 3 continents and you got like 350, 400 people on, you know, the last time I was playing blue off-peak. So you very rarely see someone. It's funny playing green and going to zones where there are a number of people and kind of interacting with them in a roundabout way, and kind of just noticing the psychology of players. So before I start, I should talk just slightly a disclaimer about the psychology of the internet, because it all feeds into the same thing really. People on the internet are generally mental, including myself. But yeah, so I mean, disclaimer first of all is that none of this is moaning about anyone, first of all, because that's always the thing you get when you put a video up talking about something, where you might be talking about other people's actions or behaviours. The immediate reaction is that you're salty, or, you know, blah blah blah. Maybe you're the problem. Well, that's the whole point of the video. It's kind of analysing your own actions and the way you think about something that's occurring at the time. Was it actually like that, or was it not? So the point of this video is that I find it quite interesting. It's not to moan about stuff. And the first thing is kind of like is buffing, and this is a general thing. The psychology of buffing is I find quite interesting. One of the most interesting things I find is when someone comes, and I had this quite a lot as a shaman, when someone comes and sits down in front of you in your eyesight, and they just sit there. And me being petty minded, some of the time, you know, I will just sit there, you know, because, and maybe it's not petty mindedness, you know, I feel that if you want something off someone, the least you can do is say, hello, please, can I have a blah blah blah, and this person will stand up, move around, jump up and down, so they can do all this, but it seems it's obviously too hard a work for them to actually just say, you know, can I have a buff please? It was, you know, and it's just a weird thing, one of those weird things that happen. And also, there's also another thing I find with psychology of buffing is when someone's in the same zone as you and they ask for a buff, and you kind of go, well, I'm here, and there's a slight feeling. Again, this is one of the reasons I'm not reading into it. There's a slight feeling from the comments that they write back is that you should be going to them. And quite often it might genuinely be that they can't get to you because they don't have invisibility or whatever it may be. But even so, I don't think there should ever be an expectation that the buffer should go to that person. You know, I'm in the zone. This is where I am. If you want a buff, then just come along, and, you know, I'm happy to buff you. But I'm not leaving my camp spot and coming to you. You know, if it was easy for me, if you're on the same floor or you're a few yards away, fine. But yeah, to expect someone to traipse through a zone to buff you, then that seems to be unfair. But they're kind of that happens on blue as well. You know, that's like a kind of like a life. That seems to be a general mentality you get from some people, not all people, but from some people. But the funniest ones are where someone comes and sits in front of you. They want to spirit a wolf, and I've sat there sometimes. They probably could have got to their destination without it, the time they were sitting there, you know. But I just felt that it doesn't, you know. Maybe I was being an arse, but it doesn't hurt just to say, please, can I spirit a wolf, you know, rather than just sitting there and there's an expectation that you're going to get it. So the other thing. The other interesting thing, obviously, it being EverQuest, is to do with camps, you know, and how people react about camps. I've had some interesting experiences. Some of them like indirectly, like the other day there was a level 50 in here killing killing guards. I don't think they're getting XP. I mean, I'm on the top floor, and these 2 guards that I generally have been killing are level 30. I don't know if they're doing it just to farm fine steel, which is fine, or some sort of faction-y type thing, or whatever it may be. But someone came in when you're here, you can listen to what other people are talking about on the floors. So if someone's talking on a lower floor, you can kind of generally hear them. And someone come in and said, what are you doing? What are you killing these guards for? Are you power leveling someone? Blah blah blah, whatever. The other person was a bit cagey. What I do find, on the forums you hear, and on Facebook, the P99 Facebook page, you hear quite a bit about people getting banned for boxing and stuff. But I reckon boxing is a lot more prevalent than people give it credit for. I don't get involved. I don't want to be one of those people that goes, "Oh, excuse me, someone's boxing. Can you come and check?" I understand it's against the rules and stuff, but live and let live. I'm just not going to be. I don't want to be that person. I've got my pet and hasted it here because I thought this guard was going to spawn, but actually, the actual guards that I'm fighting are going to spawn in a minute, and I charm those. So I think I'm going to waste those daggers. I'm not really that bothered about, and and just do my normal, do my 2 guards here. Yeah, so that's buffing. So people talking in a zone, you can hear them, and this person was a bit evasive. I don't know if they were power leveling someone. There didn't seem to be anyone else there, or if they were power leveling a 2 box, and this person was invis or hiding or whatever. I've no idea, but the conversation was quite interesting. Whereas the other person wasn't angry, but was just kind of asking the person. The person was a bit evasive about exactly what they were doing, rather than just saying I'm killing guards for faction or fine steel or whatever it may be. There's quite a lot of those conversations go on in places where you have I can never remember if the vertical axis is X or Y axis or Z axis or whatever, but if you're in a place that has got floors and oh no, that's wrong. That is big time wrong. Didn't want to do that. Don't have any of my spells, men, that I need. There you go. Has the other guard spawned yet? No, not yet. But hearing conversations of people is quite interesting. And again, it's a psychology thing. It's like this lower level turned up and probably thought to himself, what the hell is this level 50 here doing, killing guards when I want XP, and rather than having that conversation in a polite manner, it's more, what are you doing here? Whereas it might just have been a better to just to have that conversation. I would like some XP. You don't seem to be getting any. Can I have a guard or 2? So psychology is quite interesting. But from a camp's point of view, I had a couple of quite interesting things. Now this is like the top of the zone, almost like the end of the dungeon, as it were. If there is such a thing in a zone, that I think this is classed as a dungeon, but it's not a typical dungeon, I don't think, where you got boss mobs and that kind of thing. But it's quite interesting because I logged in to kill these 2 guards. They were up, and I was sitting there for ages. It must have been about an hour, and these guys got 18-minute spawns. And I logged in, I buffed up, I sat there for a bit, getting ready to go. Then I had to, oops, bloody hell, talking. Losing the XP is not the end of the world, but I left the game on, but I had to go AFK basically. And I would say I was AFK for another 20 minutes or so. So I had a chat log that was for quite a long time. Of course you did. Come on, Annie Hill. Okay. God damn it. That was a messy one. I think we probably survived. Roughly. Let's just chuck a berserker strength on, just in case guard Dwight decides to break his chains. When I blast him. Not that berserker strength saves a lot we get against these guards, but whatever. I think we'll be okay. Yeah, so sorry, getting sidetracked. Bit of a waffle, as I said. I guess at this point, if you didn't want to listen to a waffle, you probably switched off, clicked on search YouTube, and looked for another Everquest provider, content provider, by now. But anyway, yeah. I've got a Vanishall's Toe. I need to check that one for spell research. Yeah, so I was sitting here, basically. Sitting here, the guards were here. I had to log it. I had to go AFK, but I was still sitting here because it's a safe spot, right? There are no roamers, it's a safe spot. And so about an hour after I'd logged in, I heard my character getting attacked. I thought, what's going on? So I quickly flipped over and stunned and mezzed, got the situation under control. And there was a monk just standing there. And I was like, oh, all right, fair enough. And he was like, oh, like what? This is not a safe spot, you should be in the safe room or blah, blah, blah. I said, well, it's perfectly safe, if someone's not pulling mobs across you. And then, assuming he feigned death to split them. But he's, as I said, this is from my perspective, even thinking about it afterwards, but maybe you listening will have a different perspective, or the monk, I'm sure, had a different perspective. But his reasoning was that I shouldn't be able to block the camp, so he couldn't access the mob. So that was his justification for pulling the mobs across me and potentially getting me killed. These are, bearing in mind that I've been sitting here for an hour, which doesn't mean anything. If he'd come along and killed them, and I was sitting here, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid, because that would be my fault for not holding the camp down and being AFK. But he for some reason he thought I was trying to block the camp, which I wasn't. It was just it just happened to be that I had to go AFK, which I said to him. So that was his justification, and I said, well, even if I was being a numpty and I was trying to block the camp for someone, I personally still wouldn't pull mobs across someone just to get them. Bearing in mind these things are like 20-minute spawns. They're right at the top of the zone, where you only come to if you really go out of your way. There's loads of other guards around, it just seemed an unnecessary act. And then he was saying that, well, I'd been keeping those, I'd been keeping these mobs down, so that's why I came and got them. And I said, well, you hadn't, because I've been here for an hour. And he was like, no, he insisted that was the case, that he'd been clearing the mobs. I looked at my chat log when I logged in. When he attacked them, it was about an hour. 20-minute spawns, 18-minute spawns actually. Obviously, that's not what he was doing. But I don't know if it was that he kind of realised he was being a bit of a numpty and was just trying to kind of deflect. That was could have been the case. But either way, one of those strange encounters that you have, where you're not quite sure what's happened. You try and analyse it in your head, which isn't, and some people might say that I'm overanalyzing it. That's the point of the video. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm sitting here making a video this morning to talk about the psychology. But it was just really interesting. Even like from the perspective of telling white lies or exaggerating the situation, trying to suggest that they'd been clearing the mob when I'd been sitting here for an hour with the guards up. It clearly wasn't the case. And when you inform that person of that, look, I've looked at my chat log, this is the first time you've attacked them in an hour, the conversation kind of ends. But it was interesting. It was interesting that the justification for him pulling the mobs across me, potentially killing me, was because he thought I was blocking them. My feeling would have been, like, even if that seemed to be the case, I would have just left the mobs, because it just seems like the more polite thing to do than try and kill someone because you're projecting maybe what you would have done, onto that person. Oh, there we go. I was glad I waited. Sometimes I get what I don't do normally is I'll charm Siddle and get old G-Chop as well, or G-Chop, whatever you want to call him. But you can't do that while stunned. It's very sloppy. Paul, I don't know why I did it that way. Yeah, and kill the two charmed, but yeah, obviously not at the moment. Yeah, so that was an interesting one. And then today I had another one today that was quite strange. I've been sitting here for... I told the player I've been sitting here about 20 minutes, but when I'd kind of looked at it, it was actually more like around 40 minutes. I was sitting here. I'd just killed the... I'd sat here for a little while. Oh, hello, Siddle. I need to be so aggressive. I've been sitting here for a... That's the one thing about the animations. I mean, I kind of rooted him and tashed him, fair enough, but he's actually got aggro now. But it took him a long time to get aggro. A long time. Yeah, the other one today was where a character came along 10 levels above me, 46 or whatever. So again, I don't know if they get mobs off getting XP off these mobs. I'm pretty sure these two guards I just killed there, I'm pretty sure they're level 30. And they said, "Oh, you've been here long?" I was like, 20 minutes. Actually, it was like 40 minutes. He went, "Oh, right, okay, well, no problems. I had to go for a bank run, but that's fine, But I should bear in mind that this person was not aggressive or salty in any way. But what was quite interesting, I found, was that they, at level 46, came across someone 10 levels lower than him, killing 2 mobs that spawn every 20 minutes. And it was funny because there was kind of the conversation. It was only a short conversation, but it was clear that he wanted, say he could have been a she, they wanted to let me know that they had been camping the mobs, and the only reason that they weren't going to kick up a stink about it was due to the fact that they had to go for a bank run and they'd left the camp, which is fair enough. That's what I would do. But the psychology here, it was interesting that they kind of needed to let me know that they were saying, "Oh, all right then, okay, you keep the camp." As if I was going to say, "Oh, okay, well you take it back then, I'll clear off. I mean, don't worry, I'm getting XP from these. You're 10 levels higher, but that's fine. I'll leave these 2 20-minute spawn mobs. You take them, I'll log out." No worries. So, but this could have been the instance of the psychology that was my problem, where I was kind of projecting a bit. But this character definitely wanted me to know that they'd been here, and they went for a bank run, and that's why they missed the mobs. It was a long bank run, because as I said 20 minutes, but actually it was longer than that. So I don't know what sort of bank run they were doing. Yeah, but again, the psychology was just quite interesting that this character left 10 levels higher than me, wanted me to know that it was okay for me to have the camp. Yeah. Even though I've been here for 40 or so minutes. Yeah, it's interesting. All these things are really interesting, and I don't quite know what the situation. I'm not sure what you would do in these situations. I mean, if I was this guy, I wouldn't even said anything. You come along and you see some little dude 10 levels lower than you, just trying to get some XP. The only camp you can find is two 20-minute spawns, and you need to point out to him that this was my camp, but okay, I'll let you have it. It was just, I found it quite funny. Maybe that was this is something that's only just happened, so maybe this is my initial reaction. But I think thinking about it again, I would still feel the same way. It just felt like a strange thing to do, rather than just leave it and move on. There were plenty of other guards to kill. Yeah, but that's just the psychology of MMOs, I think, the way people play, the way they think when they're playing. I think a lot of this comes from just having bad experiences. You've had bad experiences before, and you project that onto experiences that you then have in the future, which sometimes may be valid and sometimes not. I mean, there was I'm not sure if they're still here, but there was a level 50 mage running around butchering all the guards. I think they've gone now. Someone did mention it, like OOC. Yeah, and again, it's quite an interesting thing, isn't it? Where there's people XPing it. I mean, they could have been here for a valid reason. Maybe they just come here to get a drop. Maybe they're just hunting plat and stuff. Yeah. or faction, could have been anything. But what I noticed with it is that there's a distinct lack of like CCing. So like this mage came in and didn't ask about any camps really, and just proceeded to clear all the guards. But that's it. It's just very interesting, the psychology. That's kind of why I wanted to do the video. I'm sure you've all had similar experiences before. Yeah, and it's something that, I mean, I wish I was at university now and I was doing some sort of psychology degree, because I'd definitely base it on, the psychology of an MMO player. Everquest in particular, because I think it comes with its own, Everquest Classic, because there's no instancing or anything. It comes with its own set of psychologies, I think, that you don't get in somewhere like Warcraft, probably. And that's it really for this video. I think the only thing I need to talk about is just to cover a few questions or suggestions that I got. I mean, I'm never going to play live EverQuest, just to let people know. Even on the new Arajune server, just no interest. I tried it, hated it, looks horrible, hate the zone changes, just hated everything. So, as Darth Vader would say, no, as Obi-Wan Kenobi would say, it's not the experience I'm looking for. So that's that. The other thing about ideal servers, someone asked me a question about ideal servers. I mean, it would be this really. I mean, I've complained about green before, so it's easy to say, well, I would like my own EverQuest server, just like this, where there's just me. That would be quite fun. I think you could challenge yourself, and you'd be less concerned about the psychologies of the social aspect of the game, and you can just, try all these crazy things. But actually, I don't think I would change it, because even though I've spoken about it before, people like me play not necessarily out of choice, although I do enjoy sitting by myself at a camp like this, kind of soloing. But people play MMO solo because single player RPGs don't give the same experience. That's ultimately it. There isn't an RPG, single player RPG, where I can dungeon crawl in this way, when the mechanics are interesting. There's danger, the combat's interesting, but also the thing is, even though I'm soloing, the stuff that's going on around me from other players that creates emergent gameplay is really interesting. So even though I'm playing on my own, what's going on around me with other players is interesting, and it can create situations for yourself, even though you're soloing, that you wouldn't get in a single player game. So that's kind of, so I think this actually would probably be my ideal server. Once Cunard comes out and there's more space, I would like to have a version of P99 on my own, so I could log into it as a single player and do that. But I think I would still log into P99 to play, because you wouldn't get that emergent type of gameplay without other players around, even if they annoy you sometimes. That's it. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found the topic interesting. I'm sure you've all had experiences similar. I'll see you on green again soon.